dive into more detail of what happened there. Okay, so I'm going to open up both files side by side and see what happened. Okay, so imagine I go ahead here and duplicate and change the / to / example. And I go back to my application, refresh, and I see that now my application is working correctly. And this is because I just added the path / example, which is what the user is sending us, to our router, and I'm mapping it to the same main handler as my root path. Okay, so this is why the application is working now. Okay, what other things can I do to requests? Well, I can go to the app.yaml and I can send example. Okay, now I can send the, sorry, I need a / always. So I can send the / example. So this is mapping anything beginning with / example. Okay, so it's example.star, which means example, and then anything after it. I'm going to map it to the script main.example. And so now I have to go to the main.py file and create example router. And so I'm just going to copy a bunch of code and change the variable name to example. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this line. I'm going to delete this line from here. And so now this should be working again, right? Because I have the example mapped to main example, and main example is here, and I have this route mapped to the main handler, so this should still work. Okay, great. See, it refreshed and it's still working. It didn't break. Okay, awesome. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm copy the main handler, and I'm going to make a new one called example handler. And instead of printing hello world, I'm going to print example. I'm going to change the example handler. So now what I have done is I am still mapping the path example, but I've changed the handler that's going to handle this request. I've changed it to example handler, and now my example handler should print out example to our screens. I'm going to refresh, and sure enough, it does. Okay, great. So let's see what happens if I hit the request example_2. Well, again, it doesn't work because this is not mapped in our main.example router. So I'm going to go ahead and add it, and again refresh, and it should be working. Sure enough, it is working. Okay, let's see what we can do next. Let's delete this generic handler. So now our application is only handling requests that begin with example. So this is probably a terrible idea, but let's see what happens. This should still be working. It is. Example, the first one also is working. But what happens if we go back to our home? Now we see the application is breaking. The URL / does not match any handlers, and this is because it's not matching any handler in our app.yaml. Okay, so let's see how this works on a theoretical level. Okay, the path / if we send it, and this is our, imagine this is our app.yaml and this is main.py. So imagine we send / example. So goes to our app.yaml, it sees there is a handler which matches the request because we have example.star, which means beginning with example. And by the way, sorry, there should be a / here. So example, and it sends it to the script main.example. We are lucky enough that we have this request mapped in our router, in our example router, so it goes ahead and the request is handled